Welcome to Matrix Glitch, a channel devoted to exploring strange phenomena that seem to defy rational explanations. This is the channel where we'll dive deep into creepy tales of glitches in the Matrix. Odd incidents that make us question reality and wonder if there are bugs in the simulation we call life. Today we have 3 such stories that foreshadow our orderly world may be far more chaotic than we ever imagined. But before we begin, remember to like and sub up, so you get that out of the way and we can run up the algorithm and grow the community. Let's make this the best community on YouTube. With that out of the way, our first story is called The Universe Comes Around.
I went to fill up petrol the other day, and as I get out of my car, this guy out of nowhere is asking me to put in $10 of fuel for him. He said, "Give me your number, I will pay you back." I said, "Don't worry, I'll put in $10 of petrol for you. It's all good." He was thankful I paid for my petrol and his twin dollars, and then continued my day to the shops. I always purchase a lotto ticket and scratchy ticket every Thursday. I had not checked my tickets yet, so I went into the lotto shop and asked them to check my tickets. The lotto hadn't won anything. The lady said, "Hey, you haven't scratched your ticket." I said, "That's okay. I know I'm going to win." She was laughing and said, "How much?" I said, $10. I don't know why, but every part of me said that scratch ticket had $10 win. She scans it, and her eyes go big and shocked. She goes, "You won $10. How could you know?" I was like I just had a feeling. Took my money and left.
Damn, what if she conned him and it was $100? Our second story is called Maybe I'm Already Dead.
My father passed away over this past winter after a long battle with leukemia. He and I were close, and he actually passed away when my fiancée and I were having some issues, and I decided to spend the night at my parents' house. He had wanted me to handle everything when he passed, so that my mother wouldn't have to. He knew she'd be a mess and knew I could still maintain a strong exterior, even when being an emotional wreck on the inside. So weirdly, it felt like he waited until I was there to die. And unfortunately, the image of him lifeless the next morning is something I don't know if I'll ever get over. Anyway, I decided to stay with my mother for a while, through the holidays at least, to help her adjust to being alone for the first time in 50+ years. I was staying in the one bedroom that was upstairs. She still slept in their bedroom on the main floor. My partner and I were still having issues, so I wasn't sleeping well. I was up late most nights, just stressed from all angles. Was also out of work at the time and stressing about interviews. One night while I'm laying in bed watching TV, I get a text alert. When I look at my phone, I have a message from my mother that reads, "I know you're here with me." That seemed like an odd 3 a.m. text, so I replied, "Are you okay?" I didn't get a reply, so I decided to go downstairs and check on her. She was sleeping in her bedroom, snoring away. I was weirded out, but figured I'd ask her in the morning if she remembered messaging me, and then immediately falling asleep. Before heading back upstairs, I went to the kitchen to grab some water, and while passing through the living room, I saw her phone charging on a side table. I grabbed my water and went back upstairs to double-check the timestamp on the message, thinking maybe it had actually come through earlier or something. Maybe there was some kind of delay. And in the morning, I asked my mother about it, and she had no idea what I was talking about. She went and grabbed her phone from the living room and seemed to be as freaked out as I was. We kind of laughed it off awkwardly and said it was my dad reaching out from beyond the grave and left it at that. But it's always bothered me, the way it was worded. If my dead father were to text me, wouldn't it be, "Just know I'm here with you," or "I'll always be with you"? Something along those lines. But instead it said, "I know you're here with me," as if I've died too or am soon going to. Or it reads like something a living person would say to the dead. I've thought maybe he's in another timeline now where the family is all together. I just don't know. I think about this often because I have no explanation for receiving the text, since the phone was in a room alone when I received a message from it. And even resolving to it being delivered much later than it was sent, I do believe my mother in her confusion about it. She doesn't use her cell much anyway, and was using it even less, because she was overwhelmed by people calling that, and the house phone to check in on her. Just needed to get this off my chest and see if there are any other interesting theories about what it meant. Maybe I'm dead. Maybe my dad is alive in an alternate universe.
Wow, this sounds like Cotard's syndrome, also known as Cotard's delusion or walking corpse syndrome. It's a rare mental disorder in which the affected person holds the delusional belief that they are dead, do not exist, are putrefying, or have lost their blood or internal organs. You have to expect that messages from the other side are not going to be straightforward. Our final story is called Twitching Moon.
This happened 20 years ago, but it was so unexplainable that I still think about it pretty often. Two friends and I had traveled to Sedona, Arizona. It was a clear night with a bright full moon, so we decided to go check out one of the vortex spots we knew was very close to a parking area. We climbed partway up the mesa and settled down on a blanket, just chatting and hanging out, enjoying the beautiful night. Suddenly my attention was pulled to movement in the sky. I swiveled my head, and the conversation next to me faded into the background as I just stared in wide-eyed shock. The moon was no longer sitting stationary in the sky as usual. Instead, it appeared to be twitching. Violently twitching, to the point it very much resembled a basketball being dribbled very quickly, very close to the ground. I stared in mute, horrified fascination for several seconds before whipping my head back toward my friends to see they too were silently staring up at the spectacle open-mouthed. "You guys see that, right?" I asked. One said, "Yes." At the same time, the other said, "I see it." I looked back up, and the three of us just watched it shake up and down, having some sort of controlled seizure for the next 5 or so minutes straight. The movement didn't deviate from the tight up and down motion. None of us knew what to make of it. After the fact, my female friend didn't want to talk about it, and would just get a weird, vacant look and try to change the subject if I pressed it. But my male friend who was there and I, we both became obsessed with it. The internet wasn't much back then, so there were no ideas to be found. Did the vortex have something to do with us seeing that? And it seems if the physical rocky moon we generally believe in had really been going apeshit like that, the apocalypse would have been going on around us as well, so it can't have actually happened that way. Does what we saw prove the moon is a projection or some type of disk of light? A ball of plasma? A hologram? You can see why we became obsessed with the implications. And I still don't know what it means, but it sure changed my worldview a lot. How could it not? Has anyone else seen this?
I don't know, but there's no possible way that would happen without notice by the rest of the planet. Localized optical phenomenon for sure. Enjoy this video? Hit the like button and consider subscribing. Let's build up this community and make it the best one on YouTube. Until next time, see you on the other side.